deep in the jungle. In an undisclosed location. Dread Comics is proud to present the 1943 movie serial, The Phantom. The Phantom is an American adventure comic strip, first published by Lee Falk in February 1936. The main character, the Phantom, is a fictional costumed crime fighter who operates from the fictional African country of Bengala. The character has been adapted for television, film and video games. The series began with a daily newspaper strip on February 17, 1936, followed by a color Sunday strip on May 28, 1939. Both are still running as of 2020. In 1966, King Features stated that The Phantom was being published in 583 newspapers worldwide. At its peak, the strip was read by over 100 million people daily. Falk worked on The Phantom until his death in 1999. Since his death, the comic strip has been written by Tony DePaul. Since 2016, it has been drawn by Mike Manley, Monday to Saturday, and, since 2017, Jeff Weigel, Sunday. Previous artists on the newspaper strip include Ray Moore, Wilson McCoy, Bill Ligmant, Cy Berry, George Allison, Keith Williams, Fred Fredericks, Graham Nolan, Eduardo Barreto, Paul Ryan, and Terry Beatty. In the strip, the Phantom was 21st in a line of crime fighters which began in 1536, when the father of British sailor Christopher Walker was killed during a pirate attack. Swearing an oath on the skull of his father's murderer to fight evil, Christopher began a legacy of the Phantom which would pass from father to son. Nicknames for the Phantom include the Ghost Who Walks, Guardian of the Eastern Dark and the Man Who Cannot Die. Unlike many other superheroes, the Phantom has no superpowers. He totally relies on his strength, intelligence and the myth of his immortality to take action against the forces of evil. The 21st Phantom is married to Diana Palmer. They met while he studied in the United States and they had 2 children, Kit and Hello Eyes. He has a trained wolf named Devil and a horse named Hero, and like the 20 previous Phantoms he lives in the ancient Skull Cave. The Phantom was the first fictional hero to wear the skin-tight costume which has become a hallmark of comic book superheroes, and was the first shown in a mask with no visible pupils, another superhero standard. Comics historian Peter Coogan has described the Phantom as a transitional figure, since the Phantom has some of the characteristics of pulp magazine heroes such as the Shadow and the Spider and earlier jungle heroes such as Tarzan, as well as anticipating the features of comic book heroes such as Superman, Batman, and Captain America. After the success of Mandrake the Magician, King Features Syndicate tasked Falk to develop a new feature. His first effort was to write and draw a strip about King Arthur and his knights. When King Features rejected the strip, Falk developed the Phantom, a mysterious, costumed crime fighter. He planned the first few months of the story, and drew the first 2 weeks as a sample. Fascinated by myths and legends, such as King Arthur and El Cid, and the modern fictional characters Zorro, Tarzan and the Jungle Book's Mowgli, Falk envisioned the character as wealthy playboy Jimmy Wells by day and the crime-fighting Phantom by night. During his first story, The Singh Brotherhood, before disclosing that Wells was the Phantom, Falk changed the setting to a jungle and made the Phantom an apparently mortal, mythic figure. Thinking that there were already too many characters called the Phantom, including the Phantom Detective and find a name he liked better and decided to stay with the Phantom. In the A&E American cable TV documentary The Phantom, comic strip Crusader 12, Falk explained that Greek busts inspired him to knit the Phantom's pupils when the character was wearing his mask. He incorrectly believed that ancient Greek busts had no pupils, they were painted on originally and faded with time, which he said gave them an inhuman, awe-inspiring appearance. 9. In an interview for Comic Book Marketplace, Falk said the Phantom's skin-tight costume was inspired by Robin Hood, who wore tights in films and on stage. Falk was a Shakespeare enthusiast and the comic included several references to Shakespeare. These include the third Phantom playing Juliet in the original premiere of Romeo and Juliet, as well as marrying Shakespeare's niece. The Phantom began as a daily strip on February 17, 1936 with the Singh Brotherhood, written by Falk and drawn by him for 2 weeks and then by Ray Moore, assistant to artist Phil Davis on Mandrake the Magician. That year, The Phantom was serialized in the Australian Woman's Mirror. A Sunday Phantom strip was added on May 28, 1939. During World War II, Falk joined the Office of War Information, where he became chief of the Radio Foreign Language Division. Moore also served during the war and left the strip to his assistant, Wilson McCoy. When Moore returned, he worked sporadically on the strip until 1949, when McCoy succeeded him. During McCoy's tenure, The Phantom appeared in thousands of newspapers worldwide and was smuggled by boat into Nazi-occupied Norway during the war. Phantom was a password for the Norwegian resistance movement. McCoy died unexpectedly in 1961. Carmen Infantino and Bill Ligmant, who later drew several Phantom stories for comic books, filled in before a successor was found in Siberia. 21. During Barry's early years, he and Falk modernized the strip, laying the foundation for what is considered the Phantom's modern look. Under Barry, Bengal became a democracy and the character of President La Mandaluyga was introduced. Barry worked on the Phantom for over 30 years until his 1994 retirement, drawing a total of about 11,000 strips. His longtime assistant George Allison remained on the strip as penciler, with Keith Williams inking the daily strip. The Sunday strip was inked by Eric Dosher until Fred Fredericks succeeded him in 1995. Falk continued to script the Phantom and Mandrake until his death on March 13, 1999. His last daily and Sunday strip stories, Terror at the Opera and The Kidnappers, were finished by his wife Elizabeth after her husband pulled off his oxygen mask in the hospital to dictate the storyline. After Falk's death, King Features cooperated with European comic publisher Egmont, publisher of the Swedish Phantom and magazine, which changed from publishing Phantom stories in comic book format to providing the newspaper strip as well, by adapting their own Phantom comic book stories into the strip format. Phantom and writers Tony DePaul and Claes Reimurthy alternated as writers of the newspaper strip after Falk died, with DePaul handling the daily strips and Reimurthy the Sunday ones. DePaul would later become the strip's sole writer. Some stories were adapted from those originally published in Phantom N. In 2000, Allison and Fredericks retired from the Sunday strip. It was continued by comic book artist Graham Nolan, who had drawn 3 Phantom N covers. In early 2005, Allison and Williams left the daily strip after Allison retired, and artist Paul Ryan, who had worked on the Phantom and comic stories and had been a fan of the character since childhood, took over the daily strip. Ryan succeeded Nolan as artist on the Sunday strip in 2007. On July 31, 2011, Eduardo Barreto became the Sunday page artist. He died after only a few months, and Ryan temporarily took over the Sunday page again on January 15, 2012, which featured a memorial to Barreto. Ryan also did the following week's strip, before Terry Beatty became Barreto's replacement. Ryan died at his home unexpectedly on March 7, 2016. Mike Manley succeeded Ryan as artist on the Phantom, beginning with a strip dated May 30, 2016. Beatty stepped down as Sunday artist in 2017, and was replaced by Jeff Weigel. The Phantom is a 1943 Columbia Pictures 15-chapter black-and-white cliffhanger superhero serial, produced by Rudolph C. Flatow, directed by Reeves Eason, and starring Tom Tyler in the title role. It is based on Lee Falk's comic strip The Phantom, first syndicated to newspapers in 1936 by King Features Syndicate. The serial also features Jeanne Bates as the Phantom's girlfriend Diana Palmer, and Ace the Wonder Dog as the Phantom's trusty German Shepherd Devil, who is a wolf in the original comic strip. Professor Davidson plans an expedition to find the lost city of Zoloz. The location of the city is contained on 7 pieces of ivory, 3 of which Davidson already possesses. Dr. Bremmer, however, intends to find the lost city and use it as a secret airbase for his unnamed country. To remove him as an obstacle, He kills the Phantom, only for his recently returned son, Geoffrey Prescott, to inherit the family identity and take over the mantle of the Phantom. 3 of the remaining ivory pieces are owned by Singapore Smith, who initially steals Davidson's pieces. The 7th, and most important, piece is missing at first but turns up in the possession of Tartar, which the Phantom acquires by wrestling Tartar's pet gorilla. The Phantom starred Tom Tyler as both Geoffrey Prescott and the Phantom. Jeanne Bates would play Diana Palmer. Like most serials, the Phantom had a low budget. Most of the serial was filmed in the Hollywood Hills, which doubled as the African jungle. For the serial, the Phantom's real name is Geoffrey Prescott. In the comic strip, his real name had not yet been introduced. 1. The Phantom's real name was eventually introduced into the comic strip as Kit Walker. The Phantom tells Singapore Smith to call him Walker when he covers his costume with a hat, dark glasses, and an overcoat so he can enter civilization unobtrusively. And now, Dread Comics is proud to present The Phantom 1943 serial. Chapter 6. Jungle Whispers.
Byron and Moku, on their way to Saipana, run into an ambush. The Phantom rescues them and learns of the gun runner's plans. He races to forestall them at Onda Gorge, when suddenly...
Got ourselves in a pocket. I hope you know where we're going. We'll get through. We're pretty close to the bridge now. Look, Salento. What's the matter, Salento? What happened? Where is he? Where's who? The Phantom. The Phantom?
The end of the Phantom. Yeah, and Collins and Paul, too.
Yeah, but how are you going to get the ammunition across?
Well, we're going to have to follow along this bank till we come to another bridge or a ford. It's the only thing we can do.
Well, let's get started.
This way, I guess.
G. 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 G.
can make this or not. We'll have to give it a try.
Oh, wait. Hey, look. Quick, hey, look. Oh, look. Oh, look. Oh.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
We'll have to pull this load, boys, and take it across empty and load it again on the other side.
Why don't we pick some grub first?
Say, that's a good idea. I'm glad I thought of that. You better hitch the oxen and let them graze around a bit.
Give me a hand, Grogan.
Yeah. Come on, Salento. Grab a little of this wood and we'll build a fire.
All right. Drop that pin. All right. Back. Come on, Red. Come on. Jeanne. Hey. Help.
Salento!
Where'd he go?
I don't know. Here's his hat.
Where'd he go? Look, he's fired a fuse to the cart. Hurry up, Grogan! Look out! You can't make him come back!
Well, looks like the end of the trail for us. That explosion got Grogan, too.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do for him. I'm getting out of here. I've had enough of this phantom.
Yeah.
And face Bremmer after what happened?
Well, I'd rather do that than face somebody I can't fight.
Long's right. We wouldn't stand a chance in this jungle. The phantom would get us before we ever saw him.
All right, then let's get out of here.
Zoloz. I've got to get to Zoloz.
Are you certain that man said Zoloz?
I'm positive. Why should a lost city be so important to anyone but an archaeologist? I don't know. But your expedition which set out to find it was stopped. The men who were moving the munitions are the same ones who attacked you. That means whoever they work for doesn't want that place discovered.
I don't see any reason for that.
Neither do I yet. I'm going back to Saipana. Maybe Rusty has something to tell me by this time.
Well, while you're there, you might see what happened to our guide Larkin. You want to sit around Tonga waiting for him for the rest of our lives.
I'll do that. In the meantime, please stay here in the village. No more running around the jungle on your own.
Right.
Be back as soon as I can, Professor.
Good luck. Well, we did the best we knew how. The whole thing just couldn't be helped.
There's no use crying over spilt milk. One thing, however, becomes more certain every moment. There are two men who must be gotten out of the way quickly if we ever expect to complete our airfield at Zoloz.
You mean the Phantom and Rusty?
Certainly, I mean them. These two are working together, the Phantom in the jungle and Rusty here in town. Both of them know all of you, and sooner or later they're going to trace me through you. Now, this must not happen.
What do you want us to do?
I want all of you to clear out of town and go to Zoloz. But before leaving Saipana, take care of Rusty.
Okay, boss. We won't miss this time.
You'd better not. Well, what's the matter? You know where he lives, don't you? Go on, move.
Come on, let's crowd in on him.
Well, devil, I didn't stay long, did I? No. See, old Sawbones fixed me up. Yes, sir.
You and Slendo stash yourself in behind those rocks. Marson, cover the other side of the house. I'll slip in on him when you're set.
Right. What's the matter? What are you...
dropped him.
He ain't shooting.
He got Solano, huh?
Yeah. Take this note to the Phantom. You be careful on your way, son.
Stay here.
Go on over.
Martin!
So you finished them off, eh?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris. The Phantom's dog just left here.
What'd you let him get away for?
Well, I took a shot at him when I missed, but only had a piece of paper tied around his collar.
Trying to get a message through to the Phantom.
Well, ain't that just ducky?
What do you mean? Oh, I get it. We'll lay here and wait for him.
Did you ever hear of a booby trap? Marson, tie that guy up hands and foot. Bring that rack with you. I'll show you a trick.
Okay, Chris.
Tie your end to that trigger.
Okay.
You take this end, you tie it onto his belt, you take all the slack out of it. And when the Phantom comes in, first thing he sees is the guy laying there on the ground. He wants to know what's wrong with him. So the first thing he does is turn him over, like this. Boom. That takes care of both of them. Okay, Long, we'll try it. Cock that shotgun and make sure there's no shells in it. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
She clicks.
That's it. Load her up. Okay, let's get out of here. All right, let's get out of here.
You stay here, fella. Rusty.
Here, fella! Here, fella!
Rusty!
Have the renegades and saboteurs joined forces? Will outlaws rule the jungle now? See what happens in The Mystery Well, the next action-crammed episode of The Phantom, at this theater next week.